Leif Fautanu joins me today on the Locked On Sun Devils podcast. We got lots to talk about, so let's hop right into it.
You are Locked On Sun Devils, your daily podcast on the Arizona State Sun Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Richie Bradshaw, and I will be your guide for everything Arizona State Sun Devils. A special shout out to my everydayers who are here every day, and thanks for making us your first listen of the day. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications wherever you're getting your shows. And of course, turn on those notifications, like we said. Today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs helps find the right people for your team faster and for free. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Terms and conditions apply. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back in. Today, we are joined by a very special guest, offensive lineman Leif Fautanu for Arizona State. Leif, how you doing, my friend?
Good. Thank you for having me again. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got lots of fun stuff to talk about. Obviously, this is year two for you. This is year two in the same system. This is year two of you becoming kind of a veteran for the team. And that's where we'll kind of start the conversation is what are your thoughts on going into year two, kind of the same system with Kenny Dillingham, with Coach Saga? Overall thoughts?
Yeah, I think we're in a really good spot. Year one is always not the best year, but I think that there was a lot of growth from year one to year two, especially when we just finished spring ball. Spring ball was like very eye-opening for the team and how good we can really be this year. So I think I think we're in a really good spot to be for the 24 season.
How did spring ball look for you specifically as an individual?
Me personally, I felt pretty good. I cut down a few pounds and I was able to get a little quicker and get faster and stronger. And I was able to kind of hone into the little details of the game. And I was able to help other people out and all the younger dudes and bring them along and kind of lay the foundation for the next few years.
How do you think the offensive line looked as a unit? This is like we mentioned, it's Coach Saga again, someone that you guys are familiar with. So what are the things that you guys have been working on as a unit? Where do you think you guys have improved the most?
I think we improved the most with depth. I think especially with what happened last year, we don't want that to happen again this year. And I think that Coach T's done a really good job of mixing us around. Other dudes working with a lot of other dudes in the room, and we're able to kind of create that chemistry and that bond between each other that regardless of who's in on that Saturday night, we're able to execute at a high level.
Where do you see the unit after spring ball? Do you guys feel like there's been a lot of progress forward? Is there still work to be done?
I think we're in a really great spot. I think we're in a spot where we still need a lot of work to do, but I think we're heading in the right direction for sure. I think a lot of the young dudes are kind of playing their role in terms of pushing the older guys and creating competition for the room. I think a lot of the dudes are able to play in many different spots where last year we needed a lot of dudes in different areas. So I think that Coach T moving us around from left guard to tackle or even center, it helps us as a team to kind of like plug and play wherever we need to.
Speaking of all the depth that you guys have, taking a look at the veterans on the team, who are some of the guys who are really providing that depth that you mentioned, whether it is starting roles or key roles off the bench, or if it's like the sixth offensive lineman or heavy sets or anything like that? Who has really grabbed your attention, the veterans?
I think to start, with the guards, Ben Coleman and Cade Briggs, all those dudes who have years of experience and a lot of games under their belt. They're able to help a lot of the interior dudes and kind of what's expected of them while they play guard. And for tackle, there's Emmett Boley, who's played a lot of games as well. and unfortunately kind of got hurt last season, but still yet there's a lot of information that these guys know. So I think that with all those guys on the line and being the veterans of the group, I think we all work together in terms of trying to lay the foundation for the younger guys so that they can pass it on and keep the standard in the room high.
Is there anything that you've kind of gained from those veterans to take your game to the next level?
Yeah, for sure. I played a lot of games. They played a lot of games. They've seen things I haven't, and I've seen things that they haven't. So I think that we have that understanding of trying to get different perspectives from one another, and some things work, some things don't. So I think when we have that honest conversations, it really helps us in terms of build off each other's experience, which in turn helps the whole room.
Taking a look at the younger guys, the freshmen, the redshirt freshmen, we'll start here. Are they kind of looking up to you as like the savvy veteran in the room because you're at that point where you've got all those years under your belt?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a running joke. Everybody calls me a grandpa at this point, but like I try to shut that down. I try to feel like I'm as young as I once was, but I mean, yeah, they kind of look to me as like the leader of the room. And I'm happy to be in that position because I played a lot. I know what it takes to play offensive line. So I think that I'm a really good source for those younger guys to kind of talk them through of like what it's like to play offensive line and different techniques that we could probably use for them in the future.
Is the offensive line, the younger guys specifically, are you maybe the go-to guy considering you're the center of the line, the guy who quarterbacks everybody? Is there a lot of pressure on you to be the veteran of the team, to be the leader of the team? Is it something you just kind of embrace?
Yeah, for sure. I think I embrace like a lot of the leadership role, but also at the same time, like if I don't know the answer, like say if a younger tackle was to come to me, I would go send them to Emmett or some of the older dudes because I rely on them as well to kind of help them out because sometimes I don't really know how to play tackle yet, but like the interior dudes, I can help them out. But if some of the younger dudes had questioned about different techniques that I may have not used, but maybe Ben or Cade and all them used, I would send it to them because they know more than me, and I've kind of learn off of that as well.
Have any of the freshmen that are incoming, the guys who weren't able to make it out to the spring ball just for, finishing up high school, has anyone reached out to you specifically and kind of said like, hey, really looking forward to working with you. I know that you're the leader. Can you help me out? Can you give me some pointers? Anything like that?
Yeah, for sure. I think Caden Hackle has done a really great job. Terrell and even Joey and all those younger dudes that are coming up there. As soon as they committed, I kind of reached out to them saying like, "Oh, I'm excited to have you on the team," and I got that same energy back. And so seeing them in the room, they're really great in terms of receiving information and trying to execute the technique that a lot of the older dudes are trying to preach to them.
All right, we're going to go ahead and transition to the next part of our podcast. We're going to take a look at the offseason, what you've got planned, what the team has planned, all that good stuff. We're going to hop into it in just a moment. This is the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find qualified professionals that are right for the role. That's why you need to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. Because LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn helps find the right professionals that you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job, but may be open to the perfect role. In any given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users will not visit other job leading sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses will get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats and may not have the time or resources to hire, which is why they're constantly finding new ways to make that process easier. They even launched a feature that helps write job descriptions, making it easier and quicker than before. 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Wherever you get those podcasts, hit like, subscribe, turn on notifications so you get an update whenever we post new content. I appreciate you guys for tuning in and making us your first listen of the day. And a shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. Back into the show now, talking with Leif Fautanu. We are going to talk about the offseason. So spring ball, real quick, spring ball, massively successful, or do you think there was a lot of work to do by the end of it?
Well, as a team, I think we still have a lot of work to do. But in terms of our position group, I think we've taken a great leap forward. But yeah, there's still a lot of work to do before we start the August 31st.
So now that we are taking a look at the offseason, you as an individual, what's your plan? Is it going to be lots of working out? Is it going to be film study? What all are you looking at specifically for yourself?
Well, for me personally, I just want to just watch more film. I think I got to study a little bit more tendencies, and especially going into the new conference where they play a lot of more odds. So it's definitely going to be a lot of more strenuous on the centers and the tackles and stuff like that. But it's nothing that I haven't seen before. So I think it's more of trying to study more tendencies of the defense and trying to see different structures and of the defense, especially in the new conference.
I do like that you bring up the Big 12. Is there anything specific that you're expecting to be different from the Pac-12 as you guys transition?
Well, I think that the different thing is going to be the atmosphere that we play in. I know the Pac-12 is really well known, but I think I've heard so many stories about where Cade is from, where he played at Texas Tech and Oklahoma State. I hear about the stories of what the atmosphere is like playing in those situations, and I love to play in those stadiums where it's just packed every week, and it's really good to play under pressure. So
so we talk about the film study that you're going to be working on during the off season. Is there anything with your technique or your signal calling that you're going to be working out on? Maybe how you come out of your sets or anything like that? Is there anything specifically with the way that you play the position that you'll be looking or working on?
Yeah, definitely. I would say, especially going against odd a lot of the time, I want to try to create the more surge and run off the ball and stuff like that. So it's definitely getting my pad level down a lot of the time and trying to create the initial surge into the line to give the running backs the lanes they need to run. In terms of pass, I would say try to get my hands right and work on my sets and stuff like that. So
is there going to be a lot of training with some of the other offensive linemen as well, or is it going to be a lot more focused on you, and then when it comes closer to training camp, you guys get together as a unit?
No, it's for sure everybody works all together as one. If one person is getting extra work, we bring the whole group around. And I think that's what sets us apart from a lot of other groups where there are a lot of individuals where they want to get their own work and their own film in. But I think a lot of the older dudes and the veterans of the group want to bring everybody else along. So it kind of builds that standard of what we accept inside the room. So I think we do everything as a group. So we watch film together. We do extra work together. We stretch together and do stuff like that. So I think that builds a great plan for the next years to come where the younger dudes are eventually become the veterans. And so when they're in that spot, they're able to continue what we kind of built on. So I think that doing everything together is really an important piece in the offseason.
And what does that look like for you when you are getting these young kids prepared to take the reins for the future, when guys like you and Emmett and Ben have graduated or run out of eligibility, wherever that ends up lying for you guys? What are you going to be focusing on to teach them in what could be your last year? Real quick, how many more years of eligibility do you have?
Honestly, I think I only have one.
Yeah.
With the COVID year, it's so messed up. Like I I didn't remember I had one. I thought I had two. I don't know. It's so confusing now, but I think
Tell me about
I
it.
think it's one more, but who knows?
Yep, I can't keep up with it. I do my best, but then everything gets added on and I just can't keep up. So when I get a chance to figure out for sure, I'll talk to someone. But back to the question with potentially this being your last year of eligibility, what are you focused on giving these kids the most?
I think that I want to preach to them that it's a process. You know, you can't like get a technique down overnight. You can't just things can't happen overnight. I think I just want to tell them like it all is a part of the plan. You just got to take it one day at a time. But you won't be able to like get someone off the ball right out overnight. You know, and I kind of want to tell them like it's just to enjoy it as well. You know, like I've been playing for 6 years and we're already done. You know, so I think just to enjoy the little things and have create that family that we need. You know, so and continue to uphold the standard within the room.
By the time that training camp rolls around, what are you hoping that you have built up the momentum with to bring that into training camp? Is it going to be a lot of physical stuff? Is it going to be a lot of mental stuff? Maybe a little bit of both?
I think so. We have our standard thing. We want to be smart. We want to be smart. We want to be tough, and it's all about the ball, and it's definitely about the team. So we want to try to create that physicality as well as the mental piece of it, where those two things go hand in hand. And we want to try to, when Camp T comes around, when we go to Camp Tonazona, and we're kind of like wrapping up camp, I feel like we just want to have that little peak where we're on our way up into the season. So I think we just got to continue to work at the little things.
Speaking of Camp Tonto what was that like last year, and what are you looking forward to this year with that coming up for you guys as well?
Yeah, well, it's definitely an experience if you haven't done it. Like it's one of a kind for sure. But I love the weather up there. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
It's so much nicer. It's definitely so awesome to get out of the heat, especially for where we're at now. We're kind of getting to our peak summer, but I'm looking forward to the camaraderie that we're able to build. I think that's what we kind of missed out on last year. Kind of dudes are still trying to get to know each other, especially with the new transfer the amount of transfers that came in last year. A lot of dudes didn't really know each other like that, but I think that with this upcoming year, a lot of dudes are here for year two. So I think it's really good to have us kind of build off of one another and kind of get to know our teammates, not just within our own position group, but kind of like outside of our own position group. Like maybe let's go hang with the DNs or let's go hang with the safeties and stuff like that. So just so that like we kind of build that team bonding that we really need when the season gets hard.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and transition into the last part of our podcast. We're going to talk about your goals for 2024, the team goals for 2024, and everything in between. We're transitioning right now. This is the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Summertime means baseball, the NBA Finals, and more, and you can bet on all of it on FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $200 that you can use to bet on everything from the Finals MVP to who's going to hit one out of the park. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and add a big win to your summer bucket list. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. One more time, wherever you're getting those podcasts, hit like, subscribe, turn on notifications so you get an update whenever we post new podcasts. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, making us your first listen of the day. Shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. Rounding out this special edition of Locked On Sun Devils, we got to sit down with Leif Fautanu. Let's go ahead and talk about some goals for 2024. And we'll start with you. What are you looking to accomplish this year? Are there any milestones you're looking at? Obviously, there's got to be some awards that you're taking a look at, whether it's individual or as a unit. What all are your specific goals for 2024?
Yeah, well, shoot, I think just reflecting on it, like it's been 6 years. I think I've started like maybe 40 something plus games. Like it's been a long run, and I've always been wanting to win the Joe Moore Award, which is the best offensive line unit in the country. And Coach T is very upfront, very honest, and very transparent. And he was telling the offensive line room that we legitimately have a chance of winning that award. And coming from him, knowing like if you've been around him, like he's very upfront and very transparent, and hearing that from him, it really gives us the kind of confidence that we need to play with on Saturdays. And that's as a unit in our position group. But me personally, I would love to win the Remington Award, which is the best center in the country. And I've seen a lot of dudes that come in win that award, and I try to study their film and what they're about and try to recreate their techniques and recreate how they do different blocks and stuff like that. So those are kind of more of the goals that I'm trying to look forward to in 2024.
Who are some of the guys that you have taken a look at, whether it's, NFL Hall of Famers or guys that you just have a good relationship with? Who are some of the guys that you take a look at that tape and try to replicate that for yourself?
Yeah, I think Jason Kelsey's a really good one. Creed Humphrey's a really good one. Even some of the dudes that I've grown up with in Hawaii, where we train together sometimes. Back in high school, his name's Alama Uave, where he played at San Diego State, and we're kind of been close friends this whole time. I think he's still training for the NFL and stuff like that. But I take a lot of different information when I can from a lot of those dudes and try to study their film and how do they trying to get their insight and their perspective on how to do basic blocks, because sometimes like basic blocks go overlooked and stuff like that. So I try to ask them like, what's your process and how do you do certain things and what are you about? So I feel like taking that information and applying it to my game really helps me in the long run.
You mentioned the Joe Moore Award. Beyond that, what are your goals for the offensive line? What are expectations that you're looking for? Anything like that?
Yeah, I think that we have the ability to be the best running team in the conference. I think with the offensive line that we have, like we've built a lot of chemistry. We can plug and play anywhere we need to be. And there are a lot of different dudes who can play on different sides of the line, which is most of the time people don't have that. And I think that in our room, we're able to have left guys play on the right and right guys play on the left. And I think that having the best rushing team in the conference would be a really, really great milestone for the room.
I love that you bring up that run game. It feels like every single guy in that backfield could be a starting running back for the team. Is there any pressure that's on you guys to block for, Cameron or Raleek or Jason as a freshman or, any of the other countless names that are in that backfield?
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, we just try to do our job and try to make them look good, but it all starts with the relationship between us and them. And a lot of the time we're always on the same page in terms of how we see things and how they see things. So I think that it's going to be a really great time, especially with the backs we have. It's like we could have anybody in the backfield and they'll do just as much damage.
What is it you're hoping to see from the offense as a whole? Obviously, it starts up front with the offensive line. We talked about your expectations there. We talk about how you are looking for this to be the best rushing attack in the Big 12, in the country, anywhere like that. What are your expectations for the offense as a whole?
Yeah, I think we just got to take it one play at a time. I think a lot of offenses overlook like the first P&10, which is the first play of the series, and I think a lot of dudes or a lot of a lot of offenses overlook that. And I think that we just got to continue to create positive plays and create explosives. And I think that's what we kind of missed out on sometimes, especially due to our limited offensive line. We didn't have that explosive run game. We had our explosive passes and stuff like that. So I think that's what we have to kind of generate this year in terms of creating that momentum in the game where it really matters. And so trying to create explosives is probably one of the biggest needs in this offense.
What are some of the expectations that are being placed on you by some of the coaches, Coach Dillingham, Coach Arroyo, Coach Saga?
Yeah, well, it's good to be the position leader, which I am, but also Coach Saga and Coach Kenny, he kind of challenged me to kind of step outside of my comfort zone to be that team leader, which I embrace for sure. I've been in that position before, but try to influence other guys to continue to buy in and stuff like that, and try to get Clayton Smith and all those other dudes, Xavier Alfred, Shamar Simmons, all those guys to continue to step outside of their comfort zone to try to build relationships outside of your position group, just so that we can become that much closer as a team.
Final expectations for the team. Do you want X amount of wins? Do you want to go to some kind of bowl game? What all are the expectations you have for the team? Whether it's quote unquote realistic or if you're going to shoot for the moon?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's just more of taking one game at a time. I think a lot of people overlook trying to go to the championship and stuff like that. But I kind of want to take it one game at a time, and once you take it one game at a time, everything will fall into place. So I think it's a lot of the details need to be there in terms of trying to take it one play at a time, one game at a time, 1 week at a time, one win at a time. But I think realistically, I've never been to a bowl game before, but I would love to go there this year in terms of so it'd be really fun this year for sure.
Any specific game that you're looking forward to the most?
Shoot. U of A for sure. I know those rivalry games get kind of crazy, but I've been a part of a really great rivalry in Vegas and Nevada, but I think this one for sure is a lot more intense. So I think definitely want to get the cup back this year for sure.
That's what every Arizona State fan wants to hear, Leif. But I appreciate you for coming on and joining me today. Is there anything that you would like to promote for yourself, whether it's something that you're doing off the field or anything like that?
No, but I appreciate you having me. It's going to be a really great year. I'm looking forward to it.
We're looking forward to it too. Again, I appreciate you guys for tuning in and making us your first listen of the day. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, turn on notifications wherever you're getting your podcast. Stay in touch with the show. We got tons of fun stuff coming up. We got more interviews. We got plenty of stuff that's going to get us through the summer until we can get to training camp. I'll be your best friend until then. Till next time, you keep it locked right here on Locked On Sun Devils.